Well, okay. I was very well into science, having done engineering, etc. But I still am very keen at scientific concepts and scientific teachings and training, etc. Because that's where most of the money comes from. But it was only when it became obvious to me that science was being used against me to manipulate me and to render me helpless, I begin to look the alternatives. Of course, religion is an alternative, but religion and science have been working closely together, although one tend to negate another, but there has been a cozy relationship set up to accommodate each other. As after, as a matter of fact, religious use science, so so they had to submit to the authority of science. But what else there is outside science that is demonstrable, that can be proven clinically in a lab situation? Truth that is demonstrable is the power of science. Begin to establish truth on the basis of demonstration and practice, and making scientific models, like mathematical models. So scientists has a power that cannot be doubted. But then when you look at, oh, let's look at this thing again. You're telling me that truth, scientific truth is true that is demonstrable. What about all that truth? What about 2 million years from now, working in science? It will appear to me 2 million years from now, at the rate we are going, if we have not yet exploded each other, that there will be a lot of things that is now doubted as truth because of the inability to harness that kind of energy, have it on our control, demonstrate it in the lab, have some written theoretical aspect of it, that in the next 2 million years, a lot of these things will be actually science. So therefore, it appears to me that science have a very great limitation. They will not be able to deal with anything outside the box of science. So anything outside the box of science will have a terrible time dealing with that. And they may usually adopt the view that this is madness or that's craziness, that is far-fetched. Something that is very far-fetched, some stories that are really there is a word used for stories that are very, very, very crazy. I forget it. But there's a word used for bizarre. Stories that are very bizarre tend to science associated bizarre stories, something that's very bizarre, really bizarre, and so forth. So I adopted a situation where I decided, okay, I'm not going to stay in that science track because they have conditioned us to accept to be sufficient with what they teach us and what they tell us while they go in the labs and in the science academies and in the centers of study. They explore things that seem bizarre and far-fetched to authenticate them and to use them. So what you do is to tell us, okay, be contented. That is what is truth. Live according to that. We're going to guide you along with all our scientific gimmicks and keep your head focused on that while we, the scientists, are going to be the ones exploring outside there. And they're actually given permission by governments to go ahead and study things and make research and make, while those people are there, they're guided, they must have been guided by science to and fro where they want. So being a victim of that, I decided I need to explore my own truth and guided by my own truth as well. I can't deny science. Therefore, science is inclusive, but my science will be called science plus plus. So I said, okay, my science, the science I believe is going to be called science plus plus, which embraces every single thing as science. Religion as a type of science, the occult as a type of science. I'm no longer going to use words like occult, religion, and so on. I'm going to say science plus plus in my mind. That's going to be my references. But I embrace every single thing that happens in this world is science. And in terms of proper science, even God would be able to be explained by science. Although there might be more questions after. We started to think God may still have more questions, but at least would have a very good and concise definition of God that works, that embraces everything, and even demonstrate that there is God in the lab. You might even be able to demonstrate the authenticity of God in a lab through some kind of experiments. We might get so scientific good that we might sit down and say that in this lab we are able to create some connection between ourselves and God. It goes through that crystal. I don't know. And you have all the electric things on, and then God appears at the other end and talks to us. So we might even be able to do that in the lab. It sounds a little far-fetched and bizarre, but that's what I'm saying. So in Science Plus Plus, everything that we are dealing with has a scientific basis, and you can practice it right now using the power of your mind. You might not be able to do the basic things like go in the lab and prove it, but they are the projection of where we are, and that is what I call my science. So to fight the to defend myself, I had to find a way. So I decided, okay, let's start reading technology or all types of psychology, psychiatry, this and that. But after a while, I realized I do not have it. I will not be able to have the capacity to assimilate all that information needed to survive in this world, being on the receiving end of the scope, the radar. And at the rate we're going, I did not have much time to lose. Okay, I did not have much time to lose, so I decided I'm going to have to find that energy, that power I have is work on the loopholes. And there's another precedence in that for that kind of thinking. Being an engineer myself in telecommunications engineering and so forth, I did most of my work in civil aviation. But the analogy between equipment and the brain is, I mean, something you've heard in like computerized and so forth, computers and equipment, etc. Analogy is obviously very much there to see for yourself. There's a precedence in that. If you look at the electromagnetic spectrum, let me see if I can get one done. Why that's not so bizarre, what I'm saying, if you have a look at the electromagnetic spectrum, the vibrations, and you look at the frequency spectrum, you realize there's an area where there seems to be no activity by human beings. When you come watching to the 30 hertz, you have no activity there. So that means um, if we do have natural receptors at that frequency, they are not being stimulated to the extent that we can even know what is happening on the other side, and there's no equipment that we have built yet that tells us what happens, what the world looks like at 10 to the 30 hertz. At 10 to the 30 hertz, we can use a microscope or telescope that will tell us what the world looks like in the micro world or small things, and in the telescope in the world of distant objects. In the world of close things, in the world of distant objects, we have microscope telescopes, and we can do a lot of things through transmission of waves. We can see things at a distance, but there seems to be after 10 hertz. Let me see if I get a spectrum. That's electromagnetic spectrum. Electromagnetic spectrum. Easy to see what's happening. About electromagnetic. Try some else. Not too much. But that is the it is a where we are operating as humans on our sides. The frequencies that we are using, which is responsible for science and technology. As we know, but some other universities. Okay, this is electromagnetic spectrum. To Google, just Google conditions at our fingertips. So we don't have to like probably find it. So the scientific box can be a function of frequencies. The look at our box we work in as human in our, as the limits of our vibration usages, frequency usages. If those frequencies were able to handle energy from and work with. So that is the box that we are how outside the box something that mind is capable of because the proposal is accepted that the mind is a so we do have frequencies in our heads that belong to what we call outside the box experiences. So if we want to have outside experiences in life, we have to work outside the frequency range as established by human um, exploitation. The place to be exploited to gain access to science and technology that we have. So let's go back to Google and to where was that is the box that we're searching for like electromagnetic spectrum. Electromagnetic for electromagnetic spectrum. Just like our innovations working exists. Yeah, it was limited. Things like house on command universe defined by science seems to exercise some sort of authority, some kind of authority outside there because our minds are a microcosm of the universe and beyond. We all have certain predisposition to our heads outside that box. But that predisposition will based on we can use a simple scientific tool called a dumbbell shape. So as far as our resources beyond the boxes. So if you talk about dumbbells, we are going to use just dumbbell shape graph. If we are going to use a dumbbell shape graph to have some, and that cannot act as no since the top side, that's where we are. We are way below average in the source we have to write the box. Some ESP, some psychic ability, some third eye, not here. So our genetic predisposition, most of us is low. So we'll be for the field now. The weight of it, but it will be very low at almost zero. So I do now is to try to see a leg. I usually put a marker date here. If I will myself a genotype information that is outside there, and I'm gifted in that, then it will happen, then I'll form a system, a stable system outside there where I'll be able to see. And well, the only thing is that I will have to use the references that I already have or project references to meet the conditions out there. So all references I have now have to be upgraded to suit the conditions outside the box situation. That's the best thing. So when I did that, I still not function properly because it's not that's a password and it seems I couldn't will myself. So I said I make a request. And that seems to have partial. I felt I was getting there, but a request was good enough. So I said full request. But abracadabra doesn't work here, it seems. I'm making fully loaded request, completely free, completely fully loaded. So I try to add as much words in front of request to expand it. And then I started drawing, then I started using get a simple way of dealing with the world situation. I couldn't get all these PhDs and all this university education. So suffice that I have a university education in engineering, but I didn't know all the medical terminologies or medical concepts. And I would have to know a lot more than medical and science. And one type of engineering, I need a complete set of engineering skills. So I did maybe 20 PhDs, something simple to work with a child can understand. And I started to draw, and the first something I look at neurons. I see that was a neuron. You have a double head, double nucleus neuron or something. So both is an cell body or something. So I say that probably is a type that you're not aware of that exists. And my drawing is distorted. And then from there, I start getting more feedback. I start drawing that ahead like simply. And then I begin to see the relevance. When I was on the attack, the head was not like that. It was distorted, and I had to redraw it correctly to correct the problem. So I got a method of correcting my problems by mental, psychological, personality, and even medical problems using that head. So if I, in case I want to find out if I'm suffering kind of cancerous situation, I'll draw it. And so if I was, if I want to check my, if I had some cancerous growth somewhere, something different, I would draw the head and come to mind. So that head, that's I, I get some sort of development in my system right now. So what I can do, So if I wanted to section COVID, if I had COVID 19, so after COVID 19, that is small. It doesn't cover enough. So so therefore, what mobile systems first I started using systems now and system that comes up. So yes, was that. So that's the COVID 19 activation. So I did general cancer, prostate cancer, yes, check lungs, colon cancer, um, any cancer or any diabetes, blood sugar, all of these things. Check. Aging, check, slow down aging, check, like with the physical, so like behavior, um, the spur of the moment, if I'm in a situation, if I'm working at the spur of the moment, but you go and try, I probably start cooking, right? So I have to work with that by reaction, save my life, save my life, just if my life is in, I don't use any words that the same as friendly, so I'm not doing that. If I'm not in anything, then I will have a responsibility effective. Alright, so that's it. That's yeah, emotional intelligence. That's what I've been working for a couple of years, trying to fine tune the system. No, So during the course of the years, I've developed a lot of different heads, different types. And many different things. Now this one is one that was a safe. I didn't want to be. What I realized was that when dealing with the outside world, the image and likeness of people in my brain should not change in the outside world. That if you are governor or president outside there, in my head, your image and likeness should not be present in my head in terms of having the same authority in my head as your outside my head. Image and likeness start controlling the system in my head. That's why I come down with hypnosis. So this SSSS what is there so that this thing will become slaves. They have all the ability, so they always part of my head. And since it's an image of likeness of what's inside, there's always a danger that it can start to exert the same kind of authority. It's a governor outside, so therefore its image of likeness is a governor inside my own brain and command and control the resources of my head, like a mind. So I put that special head SS around it so that indicating that it's a slave of the system. So even if you're president of the United States, your profile in my head, the file that you're in my head, does not have that authority because that's something you must overlook. There's somebody out authority outside, and you are kind of a mirror image inside the person's head. That mirror image is a neurological process. It may start to take authority over the rest, or it's high up in the chain of commands. It's an acting as a mind. So that indicates that once it's an image of from the outside world, it's a slave in my system. You're a governor, yes, but you are a slave in my system. You have no other authority. You have no power to delegate anything. You retain all the ability you have because I will use it because it's part of my brain now. That file is part of my brain, but since the file is of you outside, you must not be any, you must not be a director. Anything that comes into my brain from the outside is a slave of my system. And that's the problem that people face. They don't even realize that. So we have various heads. There's my abilities into dealing with heads. I just look it up to the head and see what they might mean, what authority it has. Um, you understand different patterns. Religion and religion called science. And full of his and beyond science, this means this here are windows that are working up to the outside the box experience, outside the sandbox experience. The other way, like there are faces of various types. This is a scientific box. So particularly I would say genius. Therefore, once you see that type of structure as a genius, hey, and we have common all his pattern of now based on my type of yes science.